Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey here, once again with another video on Arrow Season 6, and we had quite the episode, didn't we? As you can tell, I'm pretty happy about what happened, and so this is going to be my review for episode 13 of this season, otherwise entitled The Devil's Greatest Trick. I think that's what it was called. Who cares about the title, because there's more stuff to talk about. So if you've not watched the episode, definitely do not continue on with this video, because it's oh, what an episode. It was very good. It was very good, this episode. So go watch it before you watch this review. And if you have watched it and you're just watching this to relive the awesomeness that was this episode, be sure to drop a like on it if you're going to enjoy it. Be sure to let me know what you thought of this episode and your favourite parts. And maybe some parts you didn't like, because there was like one or two parts that I was like, just leave all of them in the comment section down below. And of course, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. So last episode, the really big thing to talk about, I guess, was Vigilante's death, because that really pushes Dinah Drake's story for this season through the hands of Black Siren. And that's really the only thing I really wanted to talk about from last episode, because I want to jump into this episode. I just thought I'd get one of those off the cuff, just one of them off. There's a couple more. Anyway, the premise for this episode is that Caden James is, he's just got to the end of his bomb storyline, I guess you want to say, and the bomb is going to be going off at midnight. I don't necessarily know if they actually say what day it is. I'm just going to guess it was a Thursday, because usually Arrow is on the day that we're on. So in America it's a Thursday, so I'm guessing it's a Thursday in America for Arrow. So yeah, Thursday or Friday midnight, the midnight between Thursday and Friday, that's when the bomb's going off. But one thing we got in this episode, which I wasn't really expecting, was actually Caden James flashbacks, which I guess makes sense that they're doing it, but they weren't like a massive part of this episode. It wasn't like some other episodes where we get flashbacks where it's like, there's like maybe 5 or 6 flashback scenes. I think there's maybe 3 or 4 flashback scenes. Maybe 5 if you include that last one, but 3 or 4 main ones. Which involve us seeing what leads up to his son's death, but also him, him and his son's relationship as well. So his son having the basketball game, Caden, sort of neglecting his son, maybe intentionally, or not unintentionally, but not intentionally, might I say, but unintentionally neglecting his son, trying his hardest to, be in his son's life. It actually leads to his downfall as he goes out when Argus is sort of on the hunt for him. So in trying to interact with his son and be a part of his son's life, he actually ends up getting arrested. So I thought I'd just get the flashbacks out of the way, just so we're not interrupting other parts of this episode with flashback stuff. So we just learned how it led up to that part where he's in that container that we saw last season, where they actually rescue him. But one other part that I thought was weird with the Caden James flashbacks, actually, before we continue, is that he was just assassinated by some random dude who ended up getting assassinated later. So I thought that was just them just tying off a loose end, so they didn't have to go after that assassin in this episode, just so they didn't have to interact with him. So that was a bit weird. I thought that was just convenient writing, but at least they didn't have to waste time going after that assassin. So even though I found it weird, I actually prefer that they went down that route, because we don't have to interact with that random assassin who would most likely die in this episode, or at some point in this season if we had to go after him and stuff like that. Now in this episode, I did find Dinah Drake irrational. A lot of her decision making was irrational, and I thought, Dinah is a weird character in regards to her writing. And this was another example of it. I was just like, okay, she's really not thinking this through. She is a cop and stuff like that. They're sort of taught to have rational thinking and good decision making. And I know what happened to her last episode, but regardless, including that, might I say, her decision making was irrational. Even when her teammates tried to talk her out of it, she was just ignoring their advice, which I thought was a bit weird for her character. We did get a mini Flash crossover. Arrow loves doing this, don't they? The little mini Flash crossovers. We had it last episode with Captain Singh popping up, and then we had Barry, or at least a streak of lightning, running good old Oliver and Diggle to Caden James' location. So they love doing this. I think someone replied to me on Twitter saying that the Flash is Oliver and Diggle's personal Uber, which is pretty fitting, to be completely honest. Now, one thing I did think was sort of random, but I did think once again fit into the episode, was how, Oliver proves that he's innocent to Caden James, which I was expecting. I thought Caden James would eventually learn that Oliver wasn't the one that killed his son, but I thought it was a bit weird that Caden essentially hired Diggle and Oliver to work for him to gather the other 3, but you can understand, because Caden was he had the bomb, he had the upper hand, he was the one with everything, he was in control here, and Oliver was trying to, deal with him. So Oliver had to sort of abide by what Caden James was doing. So Caden James knew that they would work for them. So it makes sense in that regards, but I do think it was a bit random at the same time. Like I wasn't expecting it, which I guess is a good thing. You don't want to be able to expect everything that's going to happen. Even though some things in this episode that happened, I was calling about like 2.5, 3 months ago. Dinah Drake versus Black Siren was a really good confrontation in this episode, but I must say, like, Black Siren easily came out on top. Not necessarily in the fighting wise, but just like Dinah was like really unlikable in this episode, and Black Siren was just really likable. Like it was just hilarious, some of the stuff she was doing, just triggering Dinah Drake so perfectly. I thought it was great. One thing I didn't really like, and it really contrasts to what happens at the end of the episode, unless it was a plan of his, which it could have been, but we probably won't find that out until later on, and they might not even reference it, might I say. We might just be left to assume that is what he was going for. But that's when Mr. Terrific and Wild Dog capture Richard Dragon and tag him in. I was like, I don't know if that happened. Like, Mr. Terrific and Wild Dog have been proven to be pretty crappy at what they do, which is why a lot of people think that New Team Arrow is silly. That those, at least 2 of the 3, like I think Dinah Drake can handle her own, but Mr. Terrific and Wild Dog are going out and like matching what maybe Oliver and Diggle can go out and do. Just because they can be a bit incompetent with what they do. But yeah, I found that a bit weird. But once again, maybe Richard Dragon was planning to get caught so he could be in that situation with Anatoly, Black Siren, and himself in that situation with Caden James towards the end of the episode. Maybe that is what they were going for, or what he was going for, might I say. But one thing I found silly, and it's not just on this one character as well, it's on the other characters that were involved in the bunker as well. But that's when William manages to escape the bunker because he learns where Oliver is, or where Caden James is going, where Oliver would also be going, and escapes and shows up there. I thought that was a bit silly, in my honest opinion. I was like, they're really trying to push William being involved in this season, even in areas where he probably shouldn't even be like appearing. Like, I thought it was silly. Like, why didn't Razor the maid come to the safe house as well? Like, why was it just William that came to the safe house? Did Oliver want Razor to die as well? I thought that was a bit silly, but also it makes like Felicity, Alina, and in particular Thea, because she wasn't really doing any computer work, look very lazy and not attentive to what they're supposed to be doing, which is sort of keeping eye on William. And William probably shouldn't have been able to get out of the bunker himself. Maybe there should be like a little code or something to get out, and William should not have known that code. So maybe they'll implement that into the bunker now, seeing that William was easily able to escape. We'll have to wait and see. But I think we, as the audience, knew before Quinton did, or before Quinton got even hinted at, that Black Siren was lying to him about wanting to kill Vincent Sobel the previous episode and all of her previous kills, because we saw last episode that when Caden told her to kill Vincent or Vigilante, she like did hesitate. She was like she didn't say really. She just like in her mind she was saying like, really, am I meant to be doing that? And even when she went up to him, she was sort of hesitating as well. So we knew that, and she's just trying to act like a hard ass to put this like exterior on that she can't be changed. But I think they're slowly working towards her being changed, and it's going to be very interesting to find out how long it takes, as well as like how Quinton gets through to her. But this actually leads to like a Dinah Drake versus Black Siren fight, like 2.0, I guess, where Dinah actually shoots Black Siren, which was, a bit lame, to be completely honest. Like, you got both screaming and fighting abilities, use those. That's a bit of an unfair match to just kill her. But then again, that's what Dinah wanted to do. She wanted to flat out kill Black Siren for revenge. And, so Dinah shoots Black Siren, but it leads to Quinton actually saving her, and they drive off, and that's the last we see of them in this episode. And I'm very interested to see where this goes, because it's not just like Black Siren is like this force that Team Arrow has to deal with. Now Quinton's involved with her and trying to protect her. So I wonder if like Quinton's going to get in between the two forces of Team Arrow as well as Black Siren. So I'm excited to see how that plays out, because I'm really liking what they're doing with Black Siren this season. Even though some people are complaining, I'm interested to see where it goes. But then we get to the big part of the episode. So I'm just going to get prepared. Okay, we've got the party hat. That is a fail. Okay, I'm just going to go with that because it works. Caden's captured. Caden is captured by Oliver. Oh, it was a wonderful moment. Caden is captured by Oliver in the thing. Caden has promised that he'll be able to visit his son's grave. It seems like it's sort of like a happy ending for Caden. Not the best, but at least he gets like some sort of, chapter ending with his son. Oh, but Richard Dragon's like, no, that's not going to happen. And he kills Caden James by stabbing him in the neck. And Richard Dragon was all behind it. He was the one that got him involved with going after Oliver, all of that. Richard Dragon is the mastermind. And what's the date? It is the 9th of, it's Friday, or for me it's the 9th of February. In America it's the 8th of February, 2018. In about November, if not October 2017, I was calling that Richard Dragon was going to be the villain. He was going to kill Caden James. And that's exactly what we got. That is exactly what we got. And I could not be happier. Look, it was always coming. We all knew that this is getting really annoying, I'm taking this off. We all knew that Caden James was not going to be the villain for the rest of this season. Now, you could tell that they were sort of just leading up to this moment. Richard Dragon was hardly in what was going on in this season. So you could just tell, like, slowly, like, why is it, like, Anatoly was more involved than him. Obviously, Black Siren was more involved with him. So you're just wondering, when is Richard Dragon going to get involved? And this was his big moment. And just, bang. He just came in and went, hello, I'm here. How's your neck? Oh, it's bleeding. Oh, okay, now you're dead. And I don't think we're going to see him next episode. I think it's going to take... we might get little parts of it, but I think it's going to take a while before they realise maybe who killed Caden James, because obviously the cameras will turn. So probably episode 15, they might start with Dragon getting more involved, and then just be like full-on hard Richard Dragon until the end of the season. We see his plan play out, I guess, and what he's trying to do. As we know, he's bought out the new police captain, I think he said, some other high city officials, so probably other people in the mayor's office, maybe the district attorney, stuff like that. So, I'm interested to see how that plays out, because a man with money is a man with power, and Richard Dragon has money. They haven't established on the show yet, but he was like sent to prison that for a crime he did not commit, and was given like a massive payment settlement. $20 to $30 million. So he's a man with money, and he's definitely going to use that money to gain power, and he's definitely doing that, and along with, using a knife and stabbing a dude in the neck. So I can't wait to see more of Richard Dragon come when we return. Arrow is actually on break until March the 1st, sorry, not April, March the 1st or 2nd or something. March the 1st. March the 1st. March the 1st it comes back, the same week as Flash comes back, because of the Winter Olympics. So it's a bit of a break, but what can you do? But overall, this episode, and some people were saying as well on Twitter, it sort of felt like a finale. And honestly, you have to agree with it. Like, you wouldn't even say it felt like a mid-season finale, because we got the wrap-up to a Caden James story, and you could argue that, in some season they could set up like Richard Dragon as the main villain for the next season by having him kill Caden James. It had a really big finale aspect to it. And this is episode 13. It's like an episode where you really wouldn't get that finale sort of feel to it. Like the mid-season finale, you would usually get that, obviously, because it's in the sort of title or the naming of it. But in episode 13, sort of random. But overall, I thought this was a really great episode. I think it's the best season of Arrow this season. I think it's arguably one of the best episodes of DC TV this season. People might disagree, that's fine. I thought Katie Cassidy as Black Siren was... I'd have to say she's MVP. I thought Michael Emerson as Caden James was pretty good for his last episode on the show. I thought he had a strong performance. Maybe not the flashbacks. I thought the flashbacks were a bit weird. I think it might have been like the supporting cast he was with. Like, they were all extras, basically, like not really doing much. So I think he's better when he's interacting with like Oliver Queen and the other people in his cabal. He was much better then. So the flashbacks maybe weren't his strongest. But in regards to the present day stuff and his finale in regards to that, I thought it was good. And I just love that end scene with him and Richard Dragon. Just shows that Richard Dragon's a bit of a hard ass and a threat to be threatened by, I guess. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on the video to show your support. Let me know in the comment section down below what was your favourite part of the episode, where you think this is all going. I'm excited to see Richard Dragon take over as the main villain. And just leave all those opinions down there. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye. And we'll just let off one of these again. Because why not? Oh, it failed. Okay. Let's hope Arrow doesn't do that going on into the rest of this season. That's concerning. Goodbye.